Howdy, and welcome to another episode of Untold Tales from this side of nowhere. I'm your host, Connor Jones, and I'm here again sharing a story from just about as close as you can get to the middle of nowhere. You know the place, it's Poverty Flats, Wyoming. Before we get started this episode, I'd like to give a shout out to Hallie Jones, my sister, for providing our brand new cover art. You may have noticed on your way in here that there's a really pretty image of a couple of boys doing some fishing with the mountains in the background. And we love that image. We're excited to have a new look. We're feeling brand new today, so welcome aboard for the new and improved Untold Tales from this side of nowhere. As always, we have a couple sponsors this week. And this week, our sponsors are first, Basins Market, located in Basin, Wyoming. Basins Market is your destination for groceries, fresh produce, and the best meat department in the Bighorn Basin. Come in and sample their wide selection of products Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sundays from noon to 6 p.m. We're also sponsored by the Wyoming Welcome Program. Their Wyoming Welcome Baskets are distributed to newcomers to Powell and Cody and include a variety of coupons and goodies from local businesses. So if you're a new move-in to Cody or Powell, visit the Powell Chamber of Commerce to pick up your complimentary basket. If you're a business interested in being included in a basket and getting your business's name out there, please send the Wyoming Welcome Program an email at HaleyJ, that's HALEYJ, at wyomingwelcome.com. And now, the podcast. You know, our sponsor this week was Basins Market, Basins Market, and I actually was over there on Saturday, drove down to Basin with my boys because our sewer backed up into our basement. And I went to borrow an industrial plumbing snake that they actually have over there at the grocery store. My parents lent it to me, so I drove over on Saturday with the boys, and this would have been, I'm sure it's a Saturday, people are going to remember. It was April 6th of 2024, and we left home, and it was raining in Powell. But by the time we made it to Burlington, there was close to 6 inches of slushy snow on the ground. And I was driving a minivan with my two boys, and gosh, we didn't know if we were going to make it to Basin. Luckily, from Otto to Basin was a little better. We picked up the snake, turned around to head back, and the roads had gotten worse. When we made it into Burlington, we could not even continue to Powell. It was a whiteout, and I was starting to push snow with the bumper of the van. So we actually ended up spending a few hours in Burlington with the George family. So shout out to the Georges. Thanks so much for taking us in, fed us some lunch, and in spite of the power outage in Burlington, kept us warm for a few hours and then sent us home and let us borrow a truck. So, wow, it was a crazy Saturday, but it's just par for the course for spring in Wyoming. But when we got stuck in Burlington, I was happy that I could message Haley and let her know what was going on. And that is kind of the topic of this week's story. It's entitled, I Put the Mess in Instant Messaging. So here goes. The advent of smartphones has done much to improve the lives of people everywhere. No longer do you have to be smart to use a phone. And in a brilliant stroke of irony, More dumb content is available to the average human being than ever before. Cell phones do have their uses, though. When you arrive at a buddy's house at 4 in the morning to take him fishing, you no longer have to pound his door down for 20 minutes to wake him and his entire family up. Now you merely blow his phone up for 20 minutes with calls and text messages to wake him and his entire family up. That is, unless his phone is on silent, a feature no one has figured out how to add to doors. Smartphones have even improved life in the outdoors to some degree. Gone are the days when you had to climb a tall mountain after getting lost in order to get your bearings and look for landmarks. With a smartphone in hand, now you just have to climb a tall mountain in order to get a cell signal so you can use your Google Maps or call your loved ones to let them know where to find your body should your phone battery die before you can place another call to search and rescue. If you're lucky, your loved ones will stop playing Flappy Bird or scrolling through videos on TikTok, long enough to answer your phone call or call search and rescue themselves. When it comes to providing evidence to validate all those phishing stories your friends never seem to believe, smartphones can come in handy for that too. Snapping a picture of the ginormous trout you caught has never been easier, and once you figure out camera angles and how to position the fish closer to the phone than your body so it looks far bigger than it actually is, even that 6-incher can grow in size until it almost looks like the 13-incher you've been telling everyone about. Of course, since all my friends know this trick too, I can never believe what they say about the size of the fish they catch, regardless of the pictures they show me. I guess there are some things even smartphones can't change. You may think that smartphones have made it easier to communicate with your wife or even your mother when you're gone on an outing, but the unfortunate truth is that women have a tendency to misunderstand your text messages. The obvious solution to avoiding the misunderstanding would be to call home rather than text, but if you're fishing or hunting anywhere worth fishing or hunting, your cell reception definitely isn't going to support a phone call. You can't spend all day traipsing up a mountain every time you need to communicate with your spouse, so texting is about your only option for talking with her while you're gone. I once made the mistake of taking Al Jr. fishing at a city pond, thinking it would be easier to teach him how to fish without having to hike 4 or 5 miles on the front and back end of the outing. My folly, however, came in forgetting the city pond is located in one of the few places in Wyoming where there is perfect cell reception. We had been at the pond for a mere 3.5 hours when my wife Lily called me. Wiping some fish slime off my hand, I fished in my pocket for my phone and managed to extract it. "Hello?" I said. I had to hold the phone away from my ear, and when the response thundered through. "Where on earth are you? I thought you'd only be gone for an hour or so." I grimaced and moved the phone back to my ear, hoping that a burst eardrum would heal in weeks rather than years. "Yes, I did. It's been about an hour or so, hasn't it?" I shrugged. "Yes, you've been out an hour or so, but the or so part has lasted for 2.5 hours, Lily yelled. "Well, that's the thing about or so, dear. It's such an ambiguous phrase. Get home now," Lily growled. "Dear, you're scaring the fish," I hissed. "Oh, they ought to be scared," I chuckled. Lily has such a great sense of humor. "Don't worry, we'll be home in about 10 minutes or so. Al's just took to fish." Before I hung up, Lily yelled, "This or so better be a lot shorter than the last one." So I guess even phone calls can be an unreliable means of communication, even when you think you're being perfectly clear. That being said, Texting is far worse. As I mentioned before, texting someone usually results in more confusion than anything. Take, for instance, this conversation between me and my wife while I was fishing the Bighorn River. She sent me this message. "Where are you? You said you'd be back by 4. My response was, "Be home later than I thought. LMAO. Now, you can imagine my surprise when Lily inexplicably lost her cool. "What?" she replied, with 2 question marks and 3 exclamation points. I replied with LMAO question mark. I suspect you would have been just as surprised as me when I received a very cold reception at home just 2 hours later when we made it back from the river. It was only after Lily started talking to me again that I discovered where she had gone wrong. You see, she had some very misinformed ideas about what the texting lingo LMAO means. I was quick to set her straight. "Dear, don't you know what LMAO stands for?" I asked. "Of course I do. I can't believe you would say that to me twice," she huffed. "It's not only rude, but it's profane." "Last man at oars?" I asked, brow furrowed in confusion. It was Lily's turn to look confused. "What? Last man at oars? What are you even talking about?" "You know, when you're out on the boat and you're on the last rower. Everyone takes turns, and when you texted me, the last man was at the oars. Everybody knows that's what LMAO means. Last man at oars." Lily stared at me in disbelief, apparently as appalled as I was that she could have gone so long without knowing such basic texting lingo. I shouldn't have been surprised when deer season rolled around and we had another misunderstanding due to a gap in Lily's texting vocabulary. It was opening day, and my buddy Mark Crawfry and I had taken a day or 2 off work, so we could spend a long weekend hunting for trophy deer. Lily, knowing I planned to go out with Mark that weekend, invited her mother to come stay with her for a couple days. When we left early that morning, everyone at my house was fast asleep, so I didn't get to give Lily a proper goodbye. When she woke up, we were most of the way up the mountain, but she texted me to see how things were going. Her message read as follows. "Hey, I didn't hear you leave this morning. Are you already on the mountain?" My reply was, "Yes, I'm with Mark, BRB. To my great surprise, this innocuous message prompted a flurry of messages that left my phone dinging like the bell on an ice cream truck. Lily responded, "What do you mean, ding? Be right back? Question mark. You said you'd be gone for 2 or 3 days! Exclamation point. Ding. Mom and I have plans! Exclamation point. Ding. Why don't you ever tell me anything? Question mark, exclamation point. I knew better than to get worked up about what appeared to be an honest misunderstanding. So when Mark asked me what was wrong with my phone, I just chuckled. "Oh, it's just Lily. She doesn't understand texting lingo." Mark glanced over at me, then back at the road. "Oh yeah? What message didn't she understand?" I just said, "I'm with Mark, BRB, and she thinks we're going to be back to the house in a few minutes." "Really? Why does she think that?" I sighed and shook my head. "Beats me. Everyone knows BRB stands for bagging record buck. I'm not sure where she's getting this be right back stuff." Mark grunted his agreement. "Me neither. Some people just don't catch on to trends as quickly as others, I guess." With another sigh, I sent Lily a text to help clear things up, but it didn't seem to help either. My message said, "Be gone for a few days, BTW." Her reply, "Now you're not coming back right now? Exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point. I guess she's not familiar with bagging the whitetail either. It's not just Lily who's behind the times, though. People I would have thought knew about texting and social media lingo sometimes comment on my posts and reveal their ignorance. Take, for instance, this post I made the other day. I'm holding a huge rainbow trout, and my post says below, "Just caught this massive trout. Hashtag LOL, hashtag ROFL. Someone commented on the post and said, "I don't get it. What's so funny?" I, of course, was confused myself, having mentioned nothing about catching this trout being humorous. When I told Lily about it, she glanced over the post and the comment, then rolled her eyes. "Seriously?" she groaned. "Don't you know anything about social media?" I couldn't help but think she was hardly one to talk. With what I hoped wasn't a defensive tone, I replied, "What do you mean?" Lily sighed. "You literally said in the post you were laughing out loud, and then you followed it up with rolling on the floor laughing." I scanned my post again, now completely flummoxed. "I didn't say anything of the sort." "Dear," Lily said with exaggerated patience, as if explaining something very simple to someone who was incredibly dense, "the hashtags you used? LOL means laugh out loud, and ROFL means rolling on the floor laughing." I shook my head, a relieved smile spreading across my face. "You had me worried there for a second," I said. "Anyone who has any experience with social media knows that LOL stands for lots of lunkers." Lily's jaw dropped in sheer disbelief. Finding out you've been wrong about something your entire life can be quite a shock. "You've got to be kidding me," Lily said, shaking her head. "No, actually, I'm quite serious," I replied gently, not wanting to upset her more. Lily, in turn, slapped a hand to her forehead and shut her eyes tightly. I could see she was clearly distraught. I had to tread lightly here. No sense in making her feel worse about things. "It will probably come as a surprise to you, dear, that ROFL doesn't mean what you think it does either," I ventured. Slight shake of the head from Lily. "It stands for right on, fish landed. But don't worry," I said quickly, as she suddenly stood up and spun away from me. "It looks like you're not the only one who didn't know," I called after her retreating figure. "TTYL, Al," she called over her shoulder. Almost before the bedroom door had even shut behind her, I was on my feet and rounding up my fishing gear. It's not every day your wife tells you 10 trout's your limit after all. I was halfway to the river when a thought struck me like a pine bough to the back of the head. What if Lily was unaware of what TTYL stands for? Oh well, I reasoned. I can text her when I park the truck. There you have it. Another untold tale from this side of nowhere. And I admit, I do have some real life experiences where a misunderstanding texting led to some problems. I don't know. Smartphones, I mean, in some ways, I guess they are smart, but as they say, you have to be smarter than the phone. It doesn't matter how smart your cell phone is. And no, my wife doesn't think that LOL stands for laugh out loud. She knows it stands for lots of lunkers. Just saying. Okay. Maybe I'm joking about more than one thing here. But no, I think that there is definitely some confusion created through texting and social media. But if you have an experience with some confusion via text or social media post, go ahead and let me know about it. I'd love to hear from you, and you can send me a message. Hopefully it won't be terribly confusing on our Facebook page, or you can email me at untoldtalesthepodcast@gmail.com. And once again, huge shout out to my sister Hallie. We love the cover art. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the cover art, so be sure to comment on the new picture that we've posted, and invite your friends to come check out the new and improved Untold Tales from This Side of Nowhere. As always, this has been another episode of your favorite podcast, Untold Tales from This Side of Nowhere, where we work twice as hard for half as much and still find time for the important things, like fishing. See you next time, folks.